is Larry Sharpe here on the Gov Shack. So happy to have you guys with me this evening. It is another show that I've been trying to kind of explain why so many people have kind of jumped on the Mamdani train and how he's been able to become as popular as he's been, but also talking about his actual policies. What is making him, what can he actually do? What can actually work? But more importantly, is there a more realistic, a more maybe libertarian way of getting what he wants? Will what he wants even work in general? And more importantly, the people who I think have supported him, the, I guess what you would call more of a modern day socialists of today, they speak often about workers having or owning the means of production. And I get that completely. And so far, I've had two shows specifically talking about all of Mamdani's policies. I'm not done. I'll probably have at least 2 or 3 more shows, even after this one, to cover them all. And at no point do I see workers gaining control of their labor. I don't see that at all in any of his policies. What I keep seeing in his policies is Soviet-style control. Now you go, Larry, you're exaggerating. I mean, that's not what socialism is today. I hear it all the time. That's not what socialism is today. It's not about, that Soviet stuff. That's not real socialism. That's what I hear all the time. Look at his policies, and what do I see? That same socialism, the same stuff. Larry, you're making up. I'm not. I'm going to cover it again as I have been. I'm going to keep covering. Guys, if you know you're going to like it, you know you are, click the button known as Lima India Kilo Echo. Please click the like button. I beg you, because I bug you all the time. Why? I've had to split up. You guys know I've had to split up the my Larry Sharpe and my Sharpe Way stuff because of legal reasons. So I've had to do that. So I've lost a bunch of viewership from each. I'm not overlapping anymore. So both of them have gone down, obviously. So I need you guys to help me out. Get this back up here if you can. Share and repost this to the best of your ability. In fact, if you know any people or any Facebook groups who support Mamdani and socialism, put it in here. We'll have a conversation. I'm happy to have them here. If you have not subscribed to this channel, this page, please do so. It does matter. Remember, because this is my political stuff I'm talking about, no super chats through YouTube. If you want to super chat, you've got to actually go to LarrySharpe.com/super chat. Super chat me there, and then boom, we can get super chats that way. So absolutely, when you want to do that, please do so. It does matter, guys, if you want to. I appreciate it. All right. I want to go. Are there any special comments I want to grab real fast? Let me grab a couple here. Phil says, Gov Shack, baby. Thank you. Josh says, Larry's always on fire. Thank you. I am trying. I'm trying to be on every day and to be on fire. I am trying. Yes, absolutely. So Rick says, I got a solicitation text from Stefanik today here in Missouri. Yes, because she understands this. Everyone understands, Rick, that it doesn't matter where you are. This race does matter. And they believe somehow they believe that you're going to believe that she's going to beat back both Kathy Hochul and Mamdani some way, somehow. Yeah, so do that. I love it. So Leonardo says, Larry, I love this afternoon's radio show. Thank you, my friend. I was on today at 1 p.m., of course. Yes, absolutely. So I appreciate that. Okay, I'm glad we grabbed a couple of those. Let me pick up where I left off. For those who don't know, I've been literally going through Mamdani's website, trying to grab all of his policies, and I've gone already through a bunch of them. If you want to watch any of those from before, feel free. Those are my last. This is part 3. So I've done part 1 and 2. Now I'm doing part 3. All right, housing I went through, safety I went through, affordability I went through. Now we're talking about education. Education. Oh, wow. Okay. Here, no cost childcare. That's education. Yes. According to him, that's education, right? According to him, no cost childcare is education. Here we go.
The best way to keep families in New York City is to make it cheaper to raise one here.
He says the best way to keep families in New York City is to make it cheaper to raise one here. True. He's not wrong. That is an accurate statement. The question is, how do we do that? Oh, sorry. According to him,
the best way to keep families in New York City is to make it cheaper to raise one here.
True.
That's why since the beginning of this campaign, I've championed universal childcare.
I've championed universal childcare. he can't actually do it, but he's championing it. That's true.
Making a commitment to deliver it to New Yorkers with children as young as 6 weeks to 5 years of age.
Now, 6 weeks to 5 years of age. So that means you can, this is what he wants. If you're a mom and you have a baby, he wants to make sure you can get your ass back to work right away. I wish I was joking. Now, you could make it, in theory, you could make it to where it would actually be cheap enough to live in New York State to where mom wouldn't have to go back to work unless she wanted to. That is an option you could make. That's not, no. Or you can make it to where locally people could easily create their own communities to where you could have community things where larger families can be together, communities can be together. You could do that too. No. What's he going to do?
Here are some staggering statistics that show why this is such an urgent fight. First, more than 80% of families with children under 5 cannot afford childcare in New York City.
Now, if 80% if this is true, I don't know if that's true, but let's say for the sake of argument, 80% of New York families cannot afford childcare. How is okay? That's what he says. Okay, just keep that piece in mind. 80% can't afford. So what are these 80% of New Yorkers doing? I don't know, but he says that. If that's the case, you could make New York cheaper so that stat doesn't exist. But he doesn't want to touch that stat. That stat, assuming true, I'm not sure it is true, but assuming true, wouldn't you want to fix the society that says that 80% of people can't afford childcare, right? Now, let's just give them free childcare. Well, also says they can't afford Lamborghinis. Give them all Lamborghinis. Well, they can't afford caviar. Give them all caviar. That's not how that works.
Second, this also has a major cost to our economy. The lack of universal childcare has cost our city's economy more than $20 billion in the last few years alone. So
in the last few years, how do you know that? Few years. Is that 2 years? Is that 5 years? I don't know. He makes that stat up. But $20 billion. How do you know that? Well, I'll give you something. He's talking about women not going back to work, which again, I'm not mad. If you want to go back to work, go back to work. If you don't, don't. But what he's saying is, why aren't you women back in the workforce? Get busy. That's what he's saying. Women back in the workforce. I'm not against it, but that's what he means. How else do you lose productivity? Now, he says in a couple of years, every single year, New York State loses over $20 billion due to migration. That's not me. That's the IRS. In fact, the IRS has said we've lost almost $500 billion in about the last 11 years when you include the massive losses from the lockdowns, right? So every year it's about 20 billion, but there was a huge loss from the lockdowns. So, but we average a little bit more than 20 billion per year. So he says, due to people not giving out due to New York City, not giving out free childcare, we're losing $20 billion every whatever number of years because damn you women, get back to work. Or you could just have people stay here because they can afford it and we make a whole lot more money. Am I wrong? I think I'm pretty much correct on this one.
My administration will address this crisis by providing no-cost childcare to families with children as young as 6 weeks up until they're 5 years of age.
Okay, so just free. You're in New York City and your kid's 6 weeks old. You just get to keep your kid here all day long until they're 5, in which case then you get to put your kid in school until they're 18. So basically, the state is here for you from 6 weeks to 18 years old. In fact, his plan goes through CUNY. I'm not joking. City University of New York to 22. So we'll just keep your kid from 6 weeks to 22. Mom, shh, go to work. Dad, shh, go to work. The state's got you. Now, for some of you, you may think, well, that sounds great, Larry. I can go live my life. True, that's an option for you. But shouldn't that be an option for you, a choice for you, not the norm?
To do this, we'll open more centers, using city space to open more centers.
So we're going to open more centers. What does that mean? More facilities to keep your children. Using city places. What else?
Co-locating within the DOE wherever possible.
So putting them in schools. So basically extending the school day. So extending New York City schools from 6 weeks to 22 years. That's actually what he's saying. We're going to put your kid in school in New York City schools from 6 weeks old till 22 years old. Okay, if you want that, good for you and your kid. I don't.
Subsidizing commercial rent and easing the regulatory burden to make it easier to get permits.
So, to be clear, supplemental rent, commercial rents. So, what is he doing? He is, by default, picking winners and losers. He is saying, if it is a state facility, I can subsidize your rent. I'm city facility, I can subsidize your rent. What about private childcare? Oh, you're screwed. That's what he just said, right? So we're going to make sure we make it easier for those people, the city ones, to get licenses. So to be forward, that means that private childcare, to be very clear, what he just said, private childcare will have lower standards. He said that, make it easier for them, reducing the regulatory budget, the regulatory burdens. But the other people, no, they're not. So if you're private, you're screwed. If you're not private, if you're city, you have lower standards, easy regulations. The regulations aren't that important anyway because you give it away for this one. And we're going to subsidize your rent. So your taxpayer dollars are going to pay for childcare that's public. The private ones, you're not going to pay for. So they're going to be expensive. What does that mean? That means, as I tell you every single time, as always works, if you are wealthy, you will just go to private childcare, which you go to now because you're wealthy. So now the wealthy will just keep going to private childcare. They're not going to put their kids in some school like that. Why would they? They're not going to. They're going to pay the extra and do that. Now, what if you're middle class or working class and you want to put your kid in the private, thing? You can't. You won't be able to. You won't be able to afford it. So you won't be able to. Why wouldn't you go to the free one, which the city will give you? The city will pick winners and losers. It will be lower quality. Why? He just said so. He just said it will be of lower quality. So he's going to give poorer and working class New Yorkers poorer quality to get those poor and working class people back to work. Wealthy people will do what they always do. Mom will stay home if mom wants to stay home, or she'll work if she wants to work. Why? They're wealthy. They have options. They will take those choices, whatever they want to do, and they'll go to private childcare because they can. That's what they're going to do. What do you working class person get? You get lower quality schools. That's his plan. Now, what if you wanted to create your own? What if you internally wanted to create your own? Could you? No, because that would be private. Wait a minute. I thought every nouveau socialist that I hear today always tells me, wait a minute, you don't understand, Larry. You don't get this. New socialism is not this old Soviet style where the government runs everything. It's when the workers own the means of production. Where is that in this plan? Where is that in this plan? I don't see that at all in this plan. But that's what he wants. So to be clear, his words, not mine.
We will also make sure that all early childhood educators get paid a living wage on par.
They're going to get paid a living wage.
With DOE teachers.
So a DOE teacher who, say, has to have a degree in X, Y, and Z, who maybe teaching high school or teaching junior high school, whatever, is going to get the same pay, he just said so, as someone who he will lower the regulatory barriers to get in. He just said that. And is basically babysitting. You're getting the same pay. Who's paying for that? Who's paying for that? That's taxpayer dollars, isn't it? So we're going to pay more tax. So that's why you get it back to work. Women, get your butts back into the workforce. Somebody got to get taxed to pay for all this stuff. That's you, woman. Don't stay home with your kid. Don't do that. Get your ass back into work. Someone got to pay for these teachers.
We'll ensure that existing childcare providers have the resources they need to stay open.
Now, who decides what resources they need to stay open? Government does. Centralized planning controls all of this, doesn't it? Where was the part where local people will take over? Where's that? Where's it where you get your own control? Where's that? I didn't hear any of that.
Including streamlining the process so childhood centers are fully paid by the city and paid on time.
They're paid on time and paid by the city because you people can't pay them. The market cannot work. The market cannot work unless you're wealthy. The market seems to always work. But let's not give working class people and middle class people the same benefits that the wealthy get. See, no, you don't deserve that, right? You don't do that. So you just get the stuff the city gives you. You get that. And the wealthy keep what they keep. This is every single time.
We'll also subsidize childcare at home for families
Oh.
who prefer to have a trusted neighbor or relative take care of it.
Well, I like that one. So they're going to pay you to stay home. Oh, okay. But then why would I not do that? So I'm going to pay you to stay home? Okay. So a neighbor's okay. Wow. All right. So if you're going to decide winners and losers, right? That's what you're going to do. You're going to decide winners and losers. So you're going to supplement the city ones that you decide are correct. They get to get the extra cash. They get supplemented for their rent. They get all those goodies. They get lower regulations and lower standards. Okay. And after they get all those lower standards, then the regular private people get nothing. And then if you're a mom and you want to stay home and watch your kid, no. But if you want to hire a neighbor, the neighbor can be paid by the city to watch your kid. Did he just say that, or is it me? In his glorious plan, you, mom, get to work. You want to have a neighbor come over and watch. We're going to pay your neighbor. Did he just, that's not me, right?
Their child.
And to be forward, he is proud of that. He's proud of this issue that he just talked about. Okay, so many things. Number one, he picks winners and losers. He lowers a regulatory a burden for the poor and middle class people, which is why I have an idea. Just lower them in general. He's going to pay someone else, not the mom, to watch your kid. I don't understand any of this. This is nothing but a terrible idea, but it sounds amazing. And people are like, yeah, I get to go back to work and not watch my kid. And some neighbor does? What? Whatever happened to, it's going to sound crazy. What happened to things like your local people would help each other and watch children? What about extended families? What about church groups? What about civic centers? This used to be a thing. When I was a kid, I'm going back in my day, you old whippersnappers, young whippersnappers. Back in my day, we had someone in my building who would stay home. She'd stay at home mom, and she'd watch all the kids during the day. That was a common thing. I had babysitters. It was a thing that was common usually it was a stay-at-home mom when the dad would go out and work, and a stay-at-home mom would make extra cash. Sometimes not even cash. Sometimes just food. And if you know the city, sometimes literally we just all bring food. So she'd have tons of food in her house, and to feed all the kids and to feed her family, that we just all give her food every day. So she had tons of food in the house to feed the kids and to feed her own family while she watched kids. That was a common thing also. So my bigger point here of all of this, my bigger point here is there's already this already exists. So yeah, hold on. I just switch it up. This already exists. So let me pop this real fast if I can. Of all these things I just talked about and all the stuff we talked about, that's all terrible. What you don't recognize is this already exists. Again, not making this up. You might think I am. I'm not. Here it is. New York City, my city, official website of New York City. It is nyc.gov, right? This is how you take care of this. Here, you get a child care voucher wait list. Due to insufficient funding, I'm not joking, the city is currently unable to offer child care vouchers. So there's already a plan. And the plan already failed. This is literally the plan that he's talking about that's already failed. See? Here, if you come with a child care voucher, uninterrupted, most of them are eligible. So you can already go get free child care. You can. Here it is at my city. And it's literally, again, this is nyc.gov. This is a New York City website. This system already is in play and it already fails. Looking for affordable childcare in New York City? Take a quick survey. Apply for childcare. Recertify. It's here already. Update a childcare case. It's here already. And by the way, 2025. Oh, you probably can't see that. Hold on. Let me make sure. Just so you know, I'm not making this up. Here it is. 2025 NYC. This is New York City NYC. Already exists. All these programs, they already exist. New York City already has this program for childcare. It already has free pre-K, which is 3 years and older. It already has free pre-K. So if you're 3 years or older, you're already covered. You just go for free. Already there. Just take your kid to school. So what he's talking about is just, no. That program won't work, but this program will. See, that wasn't real socialism, Larry. That wasn't. This one is. See, because Mamdani knows better than everybody, even though it's already been done. Again, this is, you can go right now to mycity.nyc.gov and look right at this. This is the New York City website. You can go already here. Huh. Isn't that weird? That's weird. How there's already a system that's already failed. So he's like, well, this time it'll work. How many times have you heard that wasn't real socialism? Now go back to it. At what point did he support, as an example, where did he support the local community? He didn't. When did he support making everything cheaper or better or faster or having more opportunity so that those 80%, if 80% of New Yorkers, his words, can't afford childcare, what are they doing? What are they doing? It makes no sense. Are they all just starving to death? Are the kids dying? What's happening? That comment makes no sense. Because it doesn't exist. It's not a real thing. So yes, guys, if you like what I'm talking about, I'm sorry. Okay, let me go back. So Larry, what's your answer, Mr. Smarty Pants? If you're so smart and awesome, and I am both of those things. If you are, what's yours? And I've already told you. I discussed it already. It is an actual yearly tax child. It's a child credit that you actually can give. I'm sorry, child. It's a tax credit you can actually give locally. Every New Yorker at the end of the year, when you owe any money to the state, whether that's through fines, fees, taxes, whatever, you owe money to New York State. You can take up to $250 of that you would be sending to the state anyway, and instead send it to any local non-government funded nonprofit in the state. If it's in your county, it's double to $500. Well, Larry, is that a lot of money? Yes, particularly in the city. How about when 1,000 people do it? 10,000 people do it. In New York City, 100,000 people do it. You can build out your own childcare with taxpayer dollars you're already paying. You're paying anyway. You're already paying. So you can give it to if you love your government, you love Kathy Hochul. I don't know why you would, why you're watching my show if you do. But if you do, and you go, I love Kathy Hochul and I can't wait, give her your money. I got you. Good for you. Voluntary. I'm not forcing you. Not forcing you to go back to work. Not forcing any of that. And this could be through fines and fees too. Your state money. That money now goes locally. So you did something dumb. You can now pay locally and now set up your own childcare. But then, Larry, why would I want to? I don't want to pay for childcare. I don't have a kid. Then don't put your money there. I don't have kids, but I care about kids and I want better childcare. Then put your money there. Larry, I'd rather put that money into, pre-K. Then put your money there into a private school if you want to. It doesn't matter as long as it's a nonprofit. I'd rather get potholes fixed. Then put your money there. You choose where that money goes. If you care about childcare, and I hope you do, that's wonderful. Put your money there. But Larry, what if the plan fails? What if some guy says he's going to have great childcare and he puts this whole childcare setup and it's crappy and it's bad? Well, two things. One, it'll be a private company, which means you can sue him. Ain't going to sue the government. That ain't going to work. And then you won't put your money there anymore and he'll go out of business. Wait a minute. Are you talking about someone having repercussions? Yes, I am. Yes. But Larry, if the government does it, won't it be safer? This plan already failed and it's still being funded. It's already failed and it's being funded. And so now what's the next answer? Another program. Government, again, working exactly how I always say. No repercussions. No one's being sued. It sucks. And here we go. Again and again and again. That's childcare in New York City. And his plan is to ensure that the same programs that have failed, we just give them more money and do more programs. That's it. We'll just keep programming. Will you support my family? No. Will you support my community? No. Oh, will you support private schools? No. Will you affect the wealthy? No. Shut up. Put your 6-week-old kid into my school. It'll stay in my school until it's 22 years old. I'm not joking. I'm going to show you that in a second. So it'll stay in my school for 21 and a half years. I will program it very effectively. You go off to work and shut up. That is Mamdani's plan. And people love it. Why? Because the current plan sucks. My plan doesn't. If you like what I just told you, then do me a favor. Donate. LarrySharpe.com/donate. Yes, help me move this thing forward. I absolutely need to move this forward. You know I do. People need to hear what I'm talking about, giving you actual plans on this. No one is talking about this. Nobody is. Right? Nobody is. It's important that we do this. All right. Donate if you can. LarrySharpe.com. You know I care about this. If you can give me $5 a month, that's great. $10 a month, that's great. $100 a month, that's great. Whatever you can swing, please do so I can get this out, spend the time and money and energy for people to see this. If you want something from it, you can. Head on over to LarrySharpe.com/shop. Pick up a shirt, a hoodie, a bumper sticker, a cool sign, something that you want, whatever you want. Pick it up if you can. Give the money that you can to donate and then pick it up if you want to. If you've done all that, you can volunteer. LarrySharpe.com/volunteer. Join SEAL Team Sharpe. Join SEAL Team Sharpe so we can move this thing forward. I appreciate it. All right. I want to move on to the next piece if I could. That was his no-cost childcare, which I love that. That's helped tremendously. But he's not done because Zohran cares about us. He does. I feel the love. You feel the love. He cares. And this is him now talking next about baby baskets for New York's newborns. Look at that. Baby baskets. Does he care? I feel it. I know you do. Baby baskets for New York's newborns. Each year, that's what he says, 125,000 New Yorkers are born across our city. And according to him, 80% can't afford childcare. Boy, we must be dumb. But the cost of living crisis can make it difficult for new families to give them a healthy start. True, can be challenging. So you could fix the underlying issues or you can give them free stuff. So he went with the free stuff. He went with that. Let's see here. Building on the success of more than 90 similar programs around the world, the Mamdani administration will provide new parents and guardians with a collection of essential goods and resources. Free of charge. Of course it's free. Yes, it is. Including items like diapers, baby wipes, nursing pads, postpartum pads, swaddles, and books. Sounds amazing. He loves us. East New York City Baby Basket will also include a resource guide and information on city's newborns' home visiting programs. So the city will come by and visit. They will tell you how to raise your baby. So you thought you could keep your baby for 6 weeks without government intervention. No. The government commissars will come by as soon as your baby's born. They will give you the appropriate government-funded documents. You will raise your babies this way. That's how you will raise your babies. This way is the way to raise your baby. You will do that, and they'll give you the critical resources and tell you what to do, because what could go wrong? The government is going to tell you how to deal with your baby from literally birth till 22. From birth till 22. And free. See? So these are critical resources for combating postpartum maternal mortality and increasing trust in government as well. Increasing trust in government. Why is that there? So he said the quiet part out loud. We're giving this stuff to you because we care about your baby. Silly, silly young woman. So silly. No. So you will trust the government. Yes. It says it right there. He put it right in it. Yes. At least $20 million a year. It's a relatively small investment with potential huge rewards for healthy development and family stability, as demonstrated by countless programs around the globe. They're countless. They're not countless. You can count them. He just said before it was 90. So you can count them because he said 90. But now it's countless. I'm teasing a little bit. Why am I teasing? Because as I'm sure you already know, I got to do it real fast, but it's almost a joke at this point because a program, hold on. Yes, it does. It already exists. Of course it does. For My Baby NYC, the program already exists. It already exists. We've been doing this forever, and it's been failing forever. All the new programs already exist. Here it is right here. This is mimgibbs.org. For My Baby NYC, Baby Essential Supply Pantry, right here. But this one, here's the problem with this one, because note what he said in it. Again, on his website, he said to increase trust in government. This is a nonprofit. See, that's a problem. That's a problem. You can't be a nonprofit unless you're run by government. If the government runs it, then it's fine. Right here, she, Young Women's Leadership Program, that's critical. Got to have that. Here, For My Baby is a volunteer-led program. Well, that's got to go. How will you have trust in government if people are volunteering? See, it's not about volunteering. It's about trust in government. And he said it. Yeah. I just wanted to make sure you guys saw this, that I wasn't making this up. Like, I wasn't making this up. And by the way, this is all under education. Let me say it again. He put this. He didn't put this under child care. He didn't put this under mommy care. He didn't put it under family. He put this under education because we educating them young. Yes, we are. If you send your children to Rome to be educated, why surprised they come back Romans? Literally true. Literally, yes. They're going to come back Romans. That's kind of the plan, isn't it? It is. All right, I put that up here. I'm going to grab some comments if I could. And again, my point for the same thing. My plan does all of that. My plan allows any of those if you want to. So let me grab some more comments if I can. I appreciate that you guys doing it. I do want to go down here. All righty. Josh says, do you support abolishing property taxes in New York State? How would it affect Mamdani's policies if you were governor of New York? I'm not. The problem with this, Josh, is clearly as a libertarian, I would love to abolish all of it, right? I'd love to get rid of everything. Of course I would. Realistically, New York State is in such a bad spot. Just abolishing any tax probably wouldn't work right away. So well, that's not true. Abolishing the property tax probably wouldn't work right away. If you notice my plans for corporate tax, for income tax, and for property tax, I have a way of making everything better over the course of 4 years. Let me explain why. Within 2 years, once I start the New York State Social Trust, the NIST, that basically is like a sovereign fund or a fund for New York State. It is a separate company run with separate CEO, separate board, not run by the state. Otherwise, it just gets sucked up by the state. Their goal is to make enough cash to pay for education. Why does that matter, Josh? Because if they pay for education, that ends school tax. School tax is about 50% of property tax, depending on where you live in New York State. It's some places a little bit more, some a little bit less, but no matter where you live, it's around 50% of your taxes. So that would cut property tax in half. I can do that within 2 years. That's piece one. Piece two, income tax. New York State income tax is all over the place, but I wanted to make it just a straight 4%, straight flat, just straight flat 4%, and then cut it 0.5% every year for 8 years down to 0. That can be done also. Again, why wouldn't I just end it? Because New York State's in such a terrible fiscal position that if we did that, we would require a massive government, federal government bailout, which would mean two things: government control and strings attached, and individual people would beg for authoritarianism, as you see constantly. We're seeing it now. We're in trouble and we're begging for Mamdani. So, yes. So how would it affect Mamdani's policies if you were governor of New York? Actually, we want the same thing. What I mean by that is Mamdani and I actually want the same outcomes. We do. Meaning we want things to be better. The problem is he honestly believes he's not sinister. And some of you don't like that, but it's true. Mamdani is not sinister. He's not trying to harm people. He believes this. Josh, he does. He's not like, ha, 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 this will get him. I've met Mamdani. I've interviewed him. If you guys pay attention, you can just put in Larry Sharpe and Zohran Mamdani. You can see I did interview him. He's actually a nice guy if you meet him. He's charismatic. He is. He's not sinister. He's just wrong. There's a difference. He's not trying to harm. His stuff will harm, but he's not trying to. What does that mean? That means if we can have a conversation, I can show him the way. He is open to learn. I'm sure he is. I know he is. Will it be hard? Of course. But what's going to happen now with Hochul, right? Stefanik cannot win. That's a fantasy. That's never going to happen. She's just grifting for cash. But if Hochul wins this thing, if I don't win, Hochul wins. That's how it works, right? That's how it's been since 2018. Democrat wins or outsider wins. That's how it works. So it's Democrat or me, the last two, and next year's the same thing. It'll be Democrat or me. That's it. There's no other choice. Now, if it's not me, Democrat. That's it. That's how it works. So if Hochul wins again, what's going to happen? More stagnation. She's already said she's not going to tax the wealthy. She's already said from our previous show, she's not going to change the bus system. She's already said it. She's already reneging on everything she said with Mamdani. So he's not getting it. So it's stagnation with her, she is stagnation. She is the establishment. But with me, we'll talk about getting the things that he wants the right way through volunteerism, not through law. So there we go. All right, grab a couple of these if I can. All righty. 99 says, Stefanik's trying to nationalize his campaign, not to win, but to cast the widest donor net. I'm glad you see that. See, this actually makes me feel better when I hear you say that, because to me, it is so obvious. It is so obvious. She's just trying to nationalize it. Why wouldn't she? She's in Congress. She doesn't know what's happening in New York State. She has no idea. The detailed stuff I speak about in New York City and New York State, the policies that I know about, the programs I know about, she doesn't know. She has no idea. She's been a congressperson. She was going to go to the UN. She's trying to make this thing international. I mean, national, international. Of course she is. All she's trying to do is raise as much cash. She knows that if she spends that amount of time, screaming and yelling and being hoko bad, that hardcore Republicans will send her lots of money. She can't win. New York State, 23% of New York State registered voters are Republican. 23%. She cannot win with that. She doesn't care. So, yes. All righty. Hold on. Let me see. I do have a... Oh, I'm sorry. Hold on. He goes. 99 goes on to say her MAGA stance will push away moderate downstate voters. 100%. To be forward, still in New York State, most Republicans do like Trump. He's losing some of them now recently. He's been having some really bad polling these last couple of weeks. But still, most New York Republicans do like Trump. But non-Republicans do not like Trump. You're right. That's true. I'm not judging. I'm saying what fact is. If you live in New York State and you are Republican, the odds are you like Trump. Most Republicans in New York State do like Trump. Now, what I said that because in Utah, that's not true. Utah is very special. A lot of Republicans in Utah do not like Trump. That's a special place. New York, most do. But outside of it, remember, 77% of New Yorkers are not Republicans. They don't like Trump. I'll say this again. They don't like Trump. So that's not going to work. All righty. I'm looking for a super chat. All right. Thank you, D, for $5. Can you explain, like I'm 5 years old, about matching funds and how because of that, Zohran won in New York? All right. Some of you don't know this. What is the biggest reason why Mamdani won? The biggest reason, there were other reasons, but the biggest reason is he got matching funds. What does matching funds mean? It means if you raise X amount, whatever that amount might be, if you raise a certain amount of money, New York City or New York State will give you a whole bunch more money. Let me explain how it works in New York City and New York State. In New York City, once you raise, I believe it's is it $1 million? No, 250,000. Forgot the number. I'm going to say it's $1 million. I forgot what it is. But once you raise X dollars, New York City will match that. I think it's 250,000. It will match it 8-1. 8-1. So if you raise $250,000 from New York City people, yeah, I think it's 250. $250,000 from New York City residents, New York State will give you an additional $2 million. 8-1. Now, what if you raise $1 million? They give you $8 million. Yes. How much do you think Zohran Mamdani got in matching funds from New York City? $12 million. New York City, taxpayer dollars, gave Mamdani $12 million. That's why he's the mayor. Otherwise, he'd have about $2 or $3 or $4 million. I think $4 million total he would have raised. $4 million total, because he also got money from outside of New York City. That does not count towards matching funds. So he got about $1.5 million from New York City and about $2.5 million from outside New York City. And that's how he got his $4 million plus his $12 million matching funds for about $16, $17 million, how much he raised. If he didn't get that $12 million, he couldn't afford Cuomo. Cuomo had over $20 million. He's the former governor, had $20 million in his pocket. That's how he won, matching funds. Now, New York State also does matching funds, but it's not $250, it's $500. If you get $500,000 from 5,000 New York State residents. New York State will match it 6-1. So if all you New York people and all you people who have friends in New York give me money, which I keep bugging you to give me money. Why do I keep bugging you to give me money? Because if you do, New York State will match that 6-1. So if I raise $500,000 from 5,000 New Yorkers or more, obviously, New York State will give me $3 million. If New York State gives me $3 million, I'm the governor of New York. That's how that works. If New York State gives me $3 million, I'm the governor of New York. And the Democrats, Republicans know that. That's why they will try to stop this in every single way they possibly can. That's why I keep bugging you. Okay, so what do they match? If you just give me money and you don't live in New York State, please, I still need the cash. Whatever you can give. It still matters. All the money counts, please. How else am I going to get Facebook ads? How else am I going to buy signs? How else am I going to go out and do sign waves? How else am I going to have and palm cards and buy T-shirts and all the things that I have? How can I do that? I can't unless I get cash. Cash is king. I wish it wasn't, but it is. Cash is king. That's how it works. But if you live in New York State, if you give between $5 and $250, New York State will match that. That's why I'm always asking, give between $5 and $250. Do that. New York State will match it once I hit $500,000. So you might go, Larry, I love you, but I can't give you like $250 right now. Great. Can you give me the equivalent of a cup of coffee every week? Larry, I'm not going to get a cup of coffee every week because I'm going to give it to you instead. Okay, great. That's $25 a month. Can you head over to LarrySharpe.com/donate and give $25 a month? Once I hit $500,000, that goes from $25 to $150. That's how that goes. I hope that makes sense for you guys. I hope that was clear enough. D, thank you for the the super chat. I do appreciate it. So, all right. Let me go wrap some more if I could. Avi, it's been a while, my friend. How are you? Sadly, New Yorkers, especially young people, Gen X, Gen Z, Zoomers, are naive, broke, and see no hope to get a decent job where they can't get ahead and are stuck with a crushing debt. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Yes, you are not wrong. You're not wrong. It's sad, but you're right. It's easy to get people who are desperate with free stuff because they're consumed by instability. So free stuff and punishing the haves is a quick fix. I'm going to go one step further, Avi. Many people, particularly the youngins, Gen Z and millennials, particularly them, they don't just feel like it's punishing. They do think that, but they think it's deserving. Let me explain why they believe it. I'm not saying I agree, Avi. I'm explaining, not excusing. They were told, just go take the tests, go to school, do the stuff. And you know what will happen? You will have a great job waiting for you with a hot spouse waiting for you, a hot, sexy spouse waiting for you, and everything will be awesome, and you'll have everything great for you. And that was all a lie. And then they look and they see, where's all the money? Well, the boomers have all the cash. It's true. Boomers have all the cash. And they go, you lied to me. You betrayed me. So I deserve to take your stuff. That's how they feel. That's why there is a righteousness, because they feel betrayed, like you owe them. You lied, you defrauded them. So you should be punished for that. Of course you should be. That's how they feel. So you're right. I just want to go deeper into how they're feeling. So Saint 1984 says, socialism is never about helping the people. It's all about powers for the elites. Yes, but it feels like it's helping people. Yes, but it feels very good. That's the issue. Rick says, the hard socialists like the DSA have an endeavor called abolish the family because children rightfully belong to the state, not parents. This is true. And we did this, sadly, in New York State with the one thing we did, which was a big problem. We made education a right. They might go, wait a minute, Larry, isn't that a good thing? Well, this goes back. This goes back to Say No to 1984. It sounds amazing. Does it sound good? Education's a human right. That sounds amazing. Oh, I love how that sounds. Okay, it can't be enforced. And the most important thing is now it says that the state has a right to educate your children. And therefore, if you don't do it correctly, the state has the right to take your children and to educate them as they see fit, which means the children belong to the state. You are correct, Rick. The worst thing we could have done was make education a right. Why? Because once you make education a right, You've just given minors and children rights. Prior to that, those rights came under parenting. All the other rights were for adults, like the right to trial. It's for adults. The right to search and seizure. It's for adults. The rights, First Amendment. It's for adults. The right to vote. It's just for adults. Right to education. That's for kids. That's for kids. That was the piece right there. That's for kids. And once we did that, yes, abolish the family became real the second we did that. And again, it sounded good, didn't it? That sounds amazing. Oh my God, you love kids, Larry. Of course you would say that. Who doesn't think that kids should be educated? Oh my God, of course it's great. And what does it mean? Bingo. It goes from saving people to all of a sudden being about controlling people. Yes. Mike Voss is in the house. Every policy of the DSA, Mamdani, has increased the size and power of government. Yes, with zero regard for the public. Well, zero is probably a little bit of an exaggeration. Why do I think his child care days will ultimately be more of the same? Yes. 100%. Yes. Senator 1984 says, I beg y'all, keep your baby people away from the government. Yes, absolutely. I love that. Avi goes on to say, as much as I despise Mamdani, it isn't surprising that now we're stuck with this radical American hating jihadist communist. I think that's a little bit of propaganda, but okay. The moderate Democrats have run this state forever and have bankrupted the public treasury. True. Everyone's on the take, and the disparities between rich and poor only get bigger despite all the happy talk about caring and being dispossessed. Dispossessed. True. The New York State has the worst wealth gap. You are correct, Avi. That's accurate. Naturally, they want the unhinged person who is unapologetic about wanting wealth distribution. True. Mamdani will simply accelerate and he keeps going. But yes, that's true. Of course they want that, because this is the thing I talk about often, Avi. When people feel like the world's ending, and you put that out correctly, a bad answer or no answer, they take the bad answer every time. They take the bad answer every time. And you see it because it's an answer. Whether you like it or not, Mamdani got answers. I'm looking on his website. He's got answers. I'm showing you how they're all broken, but he absolutely does have answers. That's true. 100% he has answers. So yes. All righty. I appreciate that. All righty. Liberty D says there's always a cost. Well, yeah. Phil says, call me Daddy Zohran. Yes. I mean, kinda. Andrew goes, regulations for thee, but not for these. Yes, that's correct. See, if I decide it and it's government, then no. So yes. All right. I want to grab a couple of those. I thought you guys would enjoy those other pieces that I brought up. Let me grab some more now, because of course, now, by the way, that was all in the education. There was no education there, but it was all in the education. Now, actual education. He does have a policy on that. He does. And here it is right here. He has that too. K through 12. So he does have a K through 12 plan, which is great. I'm glad. There we go. Okay. Zohran will ensure our public schools are fully funded. I hear that all the time. It's funding. Okay. To be very forward, our schools are indeed fully funded. Every time you hear that, and people on the left will always, this is the left thing. The right does not say this. The left always says, we need to make sure we have funding for schools. They're utterly and fully funded. Our schools are not unfunded. That's not a thing. It's a requirement by our Constitution, state Constitution. They are funded. We must pay grades 1 through 12. I think in the Constitution, we don't have to pay for kindergarten, but we do anyway through supplements. But we have to pay. So that's a thing. They are funded. That's a thing they talk about. Well, we need more funding. We now pay almost $40,000. I think we pay average to $36,000 per kid per year in New York State. It is not only the most per kid in the entire country, more than California, with the exception of Luxembourg, which is not really a country. It is the highest in the world. More than Singapore, more than Japan, more than Germany. New York State, with the exception of Luxembourg, which is not really a country. Sorry, Luxembourg people, not a country. You're basically a bank surrounded by land. You're not a country. Anyway, with the exception of Luxembourg, the most in the world on this planet, the most. Yes. So it is utterly and totally and absolutely fully funded. Anytime someone goes, we need funding, they are full of shit. They're either lying or ignorant. One or the other. We are totally fully funded. We have to be by law. and we spend the most in the entire world. Off the bat, he's full of shit. With equally distributed resources. Oh, so we need a little bit of equity. That's the see, Mike, you didn't know the problem's equity. If we just had a little bit more DEI, then we'd be set. That's your problem right there. See, Mike, get with the program. That's how it has to work. All right, with strong after-school programs. Okay, so after-school programs. Next, mental health counselors and nurses. Compliant and effective classes. You will comply. Yes, and integrated student bodies. A little bit DEI. So that's the issue. Right. So his words, like, I'm not making this up. It's right there. You can read it. Right. Okay. Now, why does he say all this? Because according to his policy memo, this is policy memo right here. You see it. He has it right here. This is policy memo. It's right here. So he's talking about his whole policy memo, which I like. There's all the details. I love that. Talks about the whole idea, everything here, which is great. He does have a policy memo. And he says here, in order to improve proficiency levels in New York State, which are currently at 57% for math, and 56% for reading. That's what he said. He said his numbers. 57% for math, 56% for reading. What was his priority again? Oh, right. Mental health counselors, DEI. Whoa. Hold on. 57% proficiency for math, 56% for reading. How much are we paying again? Oh, right. The most in the world. I want to be clear on this. We spend in New York State the most in the world. His numbers, 57% for math, 56% for reading. And his priorities were, hold on again, equally distributed resources, equity, after school programs, because I got to keep the kids here so you can go work, get to work, you pay my taxes. Mental health, because you don't have parents, because they're always working and you're sitting in school your entire life. And nurses, and compliant. You better comply with the orders. All right. Effective class sizes and integrated, because more DEI, student bodies. That's going to get us from 57 to 59. If we're dropping $35,000 per year, per kid or more, every kid should be coming out of 12th grade a rocket scientist. Now, if we were doing that, if everyone was like a Nobel Peace Prize rocket scientist, then I'd be fine, spend the money. Damn it, we're popping out rocket scientists all day long? Do it. 56%. That means about half our kids can't read or can't do math up to par. What do we need? Integrated schools. That would solve the problem right there. All right. Then he goes to address the 7,000 to 9,000 teacher shortage required by the class size law. Yes, New York State decided we need to fix things. We'll just pass a law. There's a law on class size. Is it working? No. It's weird that you can't just pass a law and make something happen. I know. Who would have thought you can't just, I deem it so. That's what we've done in New York. So we thought there's a problem. Let's just make a law that says that. Yes. But he's okay. He's got you. Because he, is going to launch the Community to Classroom program. What could go wrong? Another program. That's his answer. So you're going to say, well, Larry, I'm sure with this amazing answer, what we're going to deal with is helping out people in private schools, homeschooling, right? And local like PTA boards controlling the schools, right? No. What's wrong with you? This is about education. And of course, you will be compliant with the orders. So you will do that, right? Don't ever forget that. His words, compliant. Again, he wrote this, or his people wrote it. He agreed to it. So he's responsible either way. So yeah, you will be compliant. That's his answer. So yes. All right. So this is the newness to train, certify, and hire new teachers. Okay. The program will provide tuition support in exchange for a 3-year commitment to teaching in New York City public schools. Look at that. Then here's how it works, because remember, 56%, 57% math and English, right? Math and reading. Okay, so what we're going to do? He will create a car-free school streets. Oh, because that's the issue? To prevent traffic fatalities. Because our kids are dying in traffic accidents every year. How many kids? Okay, I'm now curious. Are that many kids dying in traffic accidents? I don't think that's true. I mean, maybe I'm wrong on this one, but I don't think that's true. Hold on. How many kids die in school traffic accidents in NYC? All right. See if I can find this one. Oh, right. Oh, no, I screwed that up. That was a mistake. That will take forever. But yeah, let's see if I can find that one. What is going on here? And of course I can't. Okay. I have too many tabs open with all the things I've opened. So my computer basically is like, I'm not listening to you anymore. So someone please tell me, someone who doesn't have a computer that's completely trashed like mine, with 80,000 things open, tell me how many kids die, fatalities in New York City due to traffic accidents. Is that a thing? I mean, if it's a thing, okay. I don't know it to be a thing. So he moves on to say, improve play and lower pollution for every school. Note, this is under education, and he wants to lower pollution for every school. We're at 56% proficiency, and he's like, well, let's be green. I'm not joking. And address student homelessness by expanding successful Bronx pilot every child and family is known. Zohran supports an end to mayoral control. Whoa. Okay, wait a minute. This part is interesting. Is he actually going to give up centralized control? Let's see. And envisions a system instead where parents, okay, great. Oh, no. Okay, parents, students, educators, and administrators work together to create school environments where students and families will best thrive. Strengthening co-governance. Okay, I'm sorry. He will create the commissariat with the commissars and of course with the ideologue officers. The ideologue officers, the commissars, will fill the area, and the administrators will run it. What could go wrong? Okay. We're using PEP, SLTs, DLTs, and CECs. Okay, yeah. That's basically the commissariat comes together, and the ideologue and the ideologue officers, they decide which is correct and what. Yes. Oh my God, this is a disaster. So he'd rather just have local administrators control the schools instead, which I'm not against localism at all. You know that. But I'd like to have parents control. Note, parents are one of 4 people controlling this. He wants students involved too. Because you know who knows what's best? Students. What could go wrong? Yet again. Okay. He will also work with city and state to massively invest in CUNY. So, and he will tax NYU and Columbia. So NYU and Columbia, who are no longer part of SUNY or CUNY, he'll tax them to pay for CUNY. I'm not making that up. To invest in infrastructure, pay staff, and faculty a living wage. This part drives me crazy. This living wage horseshit. This is also a lie. Now, teachers are not wealthy. That's not a thing. I agree. Well, administrators are. Teachers are not wealthy. That's true. But they're not starving. That's not a thing in New York. In certain states, it's true. Like Kansas, they're getting hammered in places like Kansas. It's true. If you're a teacher in Kansas, oh my God. In New York, the average teacher makes about 80 grand a year. That's not wealthy. They're not buying a third house. I'm not saying that. But they act, he's like, they can't survive. They're going to die. It's a decent wage. Not great. But he acts like they're all starving. They can't eat. Teachers aren't starving. That's not a thing in New York. It's not in New York. I'm being clear. I know certain states that's not the case. In New York State, this is talking about New York State, that's not a thing. Should we give teachers raises? Sure, but please stop acting like they're starving. They're not. It's a living wage. There are a whole lot of New Yorkers who wish they were making 70, 80 grand a year. A lot. So stop with this idea. And then he goes, worst part, teachers and staff. Are you high? Are you smoking crack? There are administrators in New York State. Most administrators in New York State make over 6 figures. There are some that make $400,000 a year. I'm not joking. Do your research. That's a fact. $400 grand a year to be an administrator in New York State. You got to give them a better wage. That's not enough for you. 400 grand. I guess, all right, 400 grand, whatever, deal with it, I guess. Can only go on vacation twice a year to Dubai. Whatever. I don't know how many cars I can buy this year. I wish I was joking. I'm not. So he actually says that. So now he wants to make sure that we give Omni cards to all students for free. Oh, okay, that's not bad. I like that. And make CUNY tuition free for all students. I thought Cuomo already gave us free tuition. Didn't he already do that already? Didn't he tell us that like 5 years ago? Oh, that was a lie? Yeah, because that's a lie too. Because you can't make it free. You can't just make everything free. I'm sorry. Yes, you can. Because he said so. So yeah, that's what he's talking about. And the policy memo is right there. Like he didn't make that up. That's true. Across the nation, 55% are considering leaving the profession. Why are 55% of teachers considering leaving? Do we know why? It's not because cash isn't the reason. Most teachers knew they weren't going to make up a whole bunch of money. Most did. That's true. Most do. Most are aware. Being a teacher, you're not going to be a gazillionaire. Most are aware of that. Now, being an administrator, you can. But most teachers are aware of that. When they go into the field, they don't go, I'm going to be a teacher so I can be filthy rich. That's not really a thing. So they're aware of that. So why are they leaving? Bureaucracy. Ask them. They will tell you that. I know. I meet them all the time. Remember, I'm the asshole who goes around the state all the time meeting teachers. I meet them all the time, and they complain to me. Same thing. Or they're former teachers. Even worse. Why'd you leave? Was it because the kids were unruly? Sometimes, but that's not common. Because the job was too hard? Sometimes, but usually no. Right? Because you made a mistake? Because you thought you didn't want? Usually not. Almost always it's the administration is terrible. The bureaucracy is horrible. That's the number one reason why people leave. The bureaucracy, the administrators, the control, the micromanaging. Yes, I had a t-shirt in 2018 that said, let teachers teach. They ate that up. In New York State, we make them jump through hoops and do all types of things. That's what we have to pay. Certain licenses here, here already. License, talking about licenses in this thing. Licenses here, all these things you have to worry about. And then we make them jump through all types of hoops. When we're done making them jump through hoops, they show up to the classroom and administrators tell them what to do. If I'm going to make you, hey, Kim, go out there, get this degree, this certification, spend this money, do all these things, learn all these things. And now when you show up, I go, okay, forget all that. Do as I say. Why did I make you get all those things? If I'm going to say, go get all these credentials, it means I'm assuming if I make you get credentials that these make you by default a decent teacher. So now I'll guide you a bit if you're new, right? Because if you're new at something, you need some guidance. Okay, I guide you. Probably guidance should be a mentoring another teacher. Another teacher should be your mentor, right? Hey, this is how things work around here. Go ahead, do your thing. What you should do. No, I'm telling you what to do. Literally, that's how it actually works. Well, if I'm going to tell you what to do, why get the credentials? Just graduate high school and show up and do as you're told. Sorry, do as you are told. Do as you're told, and then don't worry. Don't get degrees. Why bother? Why get credentials? You're going to do what I tell you anyway. So just be compliant, as I've said earlier. Clearly, be compliant. Do as I say. Why get credentials? That's why they're leaving. Left and right. The city needs, his words, between 7,000 and 9,000 more teachers. Why? The salary in New York State is not bad. It's not a bad salary. That isn't the reason. Nobody wants to do this job. But his next piece, as I told you, the average teacher in New York State makes about $80,000, $70,000 a year, depending on where they are in a state. That's average. Some make lower, some make more, but it's a decent salary. It's a decent wage. Administrators make double. So not only are teachers leaving, becoming teachers, they're also just becoming administrators. Why would you? Why would you stay a teacher unless you love the job? Why would you do it when you can do less work, be in control, and double your salary by becoming an administrator? We have a system that encourages teachers to leave, and we wonder why they leave. And his answer is DEI. I'm not kidding. That's his answer. Now, one thing he does bring up, which is funny in his idea of recruiting, he does talk about the idea of bringing in men. He does, because sadly, education is totally dominated by women. It's not even close. It's like 80%. It's crazy dominated by women. Of course it is. They want to bring in men. How can you bring in men Well, he goes, the New York City men teach the model how to recruit talented public school teachers. Research shows diverse workforce of teachers has positive impact. Blah, blah, blah. No. Stop feminizing school. Stop feminizing school, and more men will stay. It's not crazy. It's true. Now, I would ask you, all things I showed you, the things we talked about from his program, where is the part where he supports, I don't know, religious schools? Where's that? Yeah, it's nowhere. How about private schools in general? Where's that? See that somewhere? It's not there. How about homeschooling, right? Because maybe you want to keep your kid at home and teach your girl. That is, look around here. I'm going to keep looking because it's nowhere. Nowhere. How about starting new schools? Where's that? Nowhere. This is all about government control yet again. Again, all about government control. That's what this is about. But Larry, you don't understand. I'm a modern day socialist. Modern day socialism is all about workers controlling the means of production. This is my third show on his policy. I have not seen one. I hope by the time I'm done, I will see at least one policy on workers owning the means of production. So far, I have seen none. You've gone with me through this. None. If I'm wrong, call me out. If I'm wrong, call me out on how wrong I am. But I think you know I'm not wrong. Let me grab a couple more comments if I could. All righty. Lemon Bomb says, yes, it should be a choice of the norm. Correct. I'm not mad if you want to go off to work. Go work. You do you. I'm not mad if you want to stay home with your kid. You do you. But it should be a choice that you're able to make I hope as a family, that you can sit down and go, hey, I want to work full-time. I want to work part-time. I don't want to work until my kid's 5. Whatever. You do you. We're making it to where he's making it to where, no. Put your kid in my school system from 6 weeks. The commissar will come by immediately with the basket early on. I'm not making that up. You just let me say it. So the commissar will come. He will come early in the day, and he will tell you how to raise a child. And you will raise the child as the commissar tells you until the child is 6 weeks. At that point, you will put the child in the building, and you will leave the child there as you will go to work and pay your taxes. That's what we will do. This is New York. This is what his plan is. I'm not making this up. You just saw me read it off his website. Yes. Mike goes, so childcare in New York City will be a D&B for children. Mike, you are horrible. And sadly, you're right. But yes, union workers that can't be fired, no matter how bad they treat children, what could go wrong? I don't think I could have said that better, Mike. Yes, and yes. No lies detected. None whatsoever. I appreciate that. Yes. All righty. Adirondack says, what is the crossover amount from dead wage to living wage? I'm not sure. That's a good amount. I don't know. We'll figure that one out. That's a good one. Kim says, every adult should have to spend one entire day in a childcare facility with a blindfold on. That's good. Mike says, $30 an hour for a babysitter, a fry guy, a childcare worker. Yeah, it seems like each will bring in high-quality workers. Another valid point. We haven't even got to that yet, Mike. We haven't got to $30 an hour yet. We haven't got there, but we will. We will absolutely do that. Of course we will. Yes. Say No says, one of my problems with socialists is that they act like the only thing special about America is that socialism can't fail here, like it has everywhere else. I'm confused. Because that wasn't real socialism, Say No. Get with the program. That wasn't real socialism. This one is. That's the issue. Shelly says, she also still tutoring kids when she lived in the... Oh, I'm sorry. That's somebody else. All right. Let me keep walking down here if I can. All righty. Andrew says, the means of production are truly within our control. That would be nice. Yes, absolutely. Shelley says, the Boys and Girls Clubs are in every city I know. Why can't we do that? What's wrong with that? Yes. Lemon says, how can we get more folks to watch that on a regular basis? I forward his shows all the time, but it seems as though we are smokable regularly. It's true, guys. It's true. So please help me out. I know I bug you constantly because it matters. Click the like button. Some of you have not clicked it yet. Please do so. Click the like button. Share this, repost this as Lemon Bomb is saying. If you have not subscribed to whatever channel or page you're watching, please subscribe, of course. If you want to help out, you can always super chat me. If you want to super chat me, you can. I'm trying to get as many as I can as always, but super chats help out. It does matter. So yes. Alrighty. And of course, guys, donate. This is still a fundraiser. I'm trying to grow this so that people can see it. I want people to feel like we have a chance at winning, and we do if we donate. I've expressed how matching funds works. It is the answer. This is our best chance we ever had. And of course, if you want to get something from that, go to larrysharpe.com/shop, pick up a shirt or a hoodie, bumper sticker, whatever you like. Please wear the shirt, wear the hoodie, bumper sticker on the car. Please do that if you would. And under any circumstances, please volunteer if you can. SEAL Team Sharpe, if you would join it. It's larrysharpe.com/volunteer. Guys, it does matter. I bug you constantly. Why? Because it matters. That's why I'm doing this. It's why I'm doing this. That's why you see me online twice a day sometimes. That's why you see me talking a little. Why you see me out. I was out last weekend, 2 different spots. This weekend, I'll see if I can find my spot this weekend. I was out, if I can find that spot here. This week I was out too. This next week I'm going out, I should say. I shouldn't say I was out. I'm going out is what I should say. That maybe is a better way of putting it. I'll pop that up if I can. Hold on. Let me pop that one up too, so you guys can see that. I will be out this weekend, as I am, meaning you can come out and see me if you want to. And here we are. You can see me this week, Friday, November 21st. I will be at the Bella Vista Restaurante in Niagara Falls. Yes, I'm going all the way out to Niagara Falls by the Canadian border. Yes, I'll be out there Friday at 6 p.m. If you are in Western New York, come see me. I've been doing a bunch of North Country trips recently. You've noticed North Country and kind of Hudson Valley recently. This one is going to be much more Western New York and maybe more Central New York type area, Finger Lakes in that area. So I'm doing that at 6 p.m. on Friday. Saturday at 1:30, I'll be at the Firing Pin. That is a very special place where you can get long-range hole punchers in Bergen, New York. And of course, the Five Finger Lakes Public House in Canandaigua, New York at 5 p.m. on Saturday. And on Sunday, you can see me November 23rd at 10:30 at Chef Stanley's in Appalachian, New York. And at 4 p.m., heading back down towards New York City, you can see me at McCarthy's Grill House in Carmel, New York, which is in Putnam County. So guys, if you're going to be anywhere in that area, Hudson Valley area, Sunday, if you can make it, Western New York, Friday or Saturday, if you can make it, come on out, come see me. Here's what I'm asking you to do. It's free to come see me. Just come. It's free. Please, if you show up, somehow support the place if you can by buying a drink. If you're in a tough spot where you can't afford to buy a beer or a coffee or a soda, yeah, I get it. Just come and sit down. If you're in a good spot, you can afford to buy a meal, please come and buy a meal. If you can come and buy a meal, please come and buy a meal. Support the local place. It does matter. All these are local places, local ownership. Let's talk about all the time. Please come by and see me this weekend. Look, how do I know so much about the state? Because I travel it. I'm out here. I'm doing it. I'm doing stuff. I'm asking you to do stuff. I'm giving you a year of my life. I'm asking you to donate for a year of yours. If you're saying, Larry, I love what you're doing. I'm in a good spot. I can give you a cup of coffee every day. That's how much I can do. Great. That's $100 a month. Do that if you can. Donate $100 a month. Keep it coming in. That's a cup of coffee a day. Do that, please. If you can do it, great. If you're in that kind of spot. Larry, I love you. I'm not that kind of spot. I can give you a cup of coffee a month. Okay, $5 a month. Do it. Still works. I'm in the middle someplace. I can give you a cup of coffee every week. Good. $25 a month. Fine. Put it in. Do it. If you want something from it, no worries. Go pick something up at larrysharpe.com/shop. Pick something up. If you've already done it or already there, then go to larrysharpe.com/volunteer. Join SEAL Team Sharpe. We have a Discord server you can go on. We have phone calls you can go on. We need people to help out. Guys, do me a favor. Make this happen. This is our best chance to make impact. It is literally our best chance to make impact. So let's make it happen. All right. I covered that piece too. Let me stay on schools. You know what? Let me do a couple more comments, and then I'll move on. All right. Avi says, baby baskets from Mamdani. This guy's insane. That's good. Yeah, well, he cares. There we go. Adirondack says, a CPS visit to help out with the little ones. Exactly. Yes. 100%. Shelly goes on, baby baskets full of vaccines and propaganda. Oh, my God. Andrew goes, Mondays with Mamdani. Yep. There we go. That's what this is. I love it. Karen says, I have a family member who I will obviously not name, put her baby in unlicensed daycare in Washington Heights. So they grew up bilingual. It worked. And that child received the best childhood imaginable. Be ungovernable. You know what we used to do every single day, what every parent used to do before a couple years ago? Put their kid in unlicensed daycare. It was called family. All the time. When I was a kid, we went to our neighbor. I lived in the Bronx. Big, for those who know the Bronx, a lot of big apartment buildings. I lived in one of those big apartment buildings. And we were on the first floor. I was with Mike 2 weeks ago. Mike was 2 weeks ago, and I showed him my old building I should actually live in. I was on the first floor. And across the area is another in the building at two sides. If you ever go to those big buildings, usually you walk and there's like a left side and a right side, right? So we lived on the left side. We walked across into the right side, and there was another woman there on the first floor also. She was a young woman. I think she was Puerto Rican, maybe she was Hispanic. I think Puerto Rican. I'm not sure. I think. But anyway, she was Hispanic. I remember that. And she would have kids come over. And after school, we'd all go there. In fact, before school, we'd stop by and drop off food and clothes and stuff. And then we go to school, come back, and we all stay there. That was an unlicensed daycare. And you know what? Nobody died. Nobody died. Speaking of deaths, I'm seeing 16 kids died of traffic accidents last year in New York City. And that was a record. Oh, half were due to pedestrians. Oh, and that's all categories of death. Okay. Thank you guys for that background. That's all categories of child death. Wow. Okay. So that means, I don't know, half of them were from pedestrians. So it's 8. Maybe we can guess maybe 2 from schools. So maybe 2 kids died of traffic accidents. So what should be our priority? Making sure there's no cars on the streets. Now, here's the problem with that. If you've ever seen pickup time at a school, I know my kids went to school here in New York. One of them still does. People drive to pick up their kids. So they put the kids in front of the cars, go in front of school to pick the kids up. Well, if you're going to block that off, the kid's got to walk an extra block. You're going to park your car a block away and walk to get your kid. You're punishing parents now. He doesn't care. But you're punishing kids now. So, yeah. All righty. All right. Let's see here if I can move down. There's so many of these. If I grabbed a couple of those, I'm good with that one already. All right. We covered that already. So many of these. All righty. Say No says Larry's a wise ma. I think you meant man, but I could be a ma. I don't mind. It's all good. I can be either of those. So, all righty. Shelley says the government educated me to never trust the government. Yes. Yes. Andrea says, but Larry, you should know the government always does it better. True. Adirondack says, trust in the government will give you an education. Yes. I trust in the government. Okay. God, there we go. I love that. Easy day. All right. If I can grab some of these here. Who would make the checks out to? You mean for me? If you want to give me a check, I'm happy if you want to give me a check. It's Larry Sharpe for governor. It's right there. Larry Sharpe for governor. That's the name of it. Yes, absolutely. So if you want to give me a check, please go ahead. I love that. There we go. All right. Let's see here. Okay. Andrea says, how do I get in that grift? It's not a bad grift, is all I'm saying. Right? It's not a bad grift. I completely agree. Yes. All righty. Let's see. I'll go down that one. That was good too. I covered that piece already. All right. Shelley says, a libertarian friend of mine wants everyone she knows in New York State to send $10 so we meet the $5,000 donor from New York. Oh, thank you. That'd be amazing, guys. I need 5,000 donors and raise $500,000. If those two things happen, literally, I will be the governor. How do I know that? This is a good. How can I say I'll be governor of New York? All right. Let me be very clear how I know that. Because the second that I get matching funds, at that point, the Republican Party across the country would be like, oh my God, Larry might win this thing. And if Larry might win this thing, Elise will surely get her ass kicked, depending upon how bad she does. I'm coming in at least second if I don't win. They're going to see that. Once they see that, they will turn on Elise. That's why Stefanik is scared. She knows the Republican Party will turn on her. Larry, how can you say that? It's called Curtis Sliwa. That's how I know. Curtis Sliwa, for those who don't know, was the Republican nominee here in the Republican candidate here in New York City in the last election. Whether you like or hate Curtis, I am biased. I know Curtis. I like Curtis. Mike and I have been to many of his events. Mike knows Curtis too. Right? I like Curtis. So I am biased in what I'm saying. Just so you know, doesn't matter. Whenever he sees me in the subway, he's like, Mr. Libertarian. That's him whenever he sees me. Any case, my point being, he was a good Republican. If you were a Republican, he was. He was a loyal Republican. Tried to support the people. He was a good Republican. And he got 7% of the vote. Why? Because the Republican Party turned on him. And all the leadership said, don't vote for him, vote for Cuomo. Let me repeat that. The Republican establishment told Republican voters to vote for a guy who literally said, his words, not mine, his words, there's no space for conservatives in New York State. The Republican establishment said, vote for that guy. Now, I'm nowhere near bad as that guy. I'm not even close as bad. I'm nowhere near that guy. So all of a sudden, I can be Stefanik. They will turn on her and say, vote for Larry Sharpe to turn this state gold, to take it away from Democrats. Of course they will. Of course they will. That's how I know that, because I just watched it happen. I watched it happen 2 weeks ago. That's how I know it will happen. So yes. Brana says $36K per kid per year. And by year 12, they're functionally illiterate. Sounds like a good plan. What could go wrong, Brana? What could possibly go wrong? And then when you see that happen, when you watch that happen, you go, you know what we need? Equity. That would solve it. See? If we just, and you know what? Environmentalism. If we made things greener and then more equitable, then everything would be great. That's literally what his plan is. You just saw it. You just saw it. So Adarang says, when they say it's fully funded, already paid for, I think of Joe Biden whispering in the mic, it's all free, paid for with taxes, which by default, in his mind, means free. Yes. There we go. Yes. So anyway, that's good. All righty. Let me see here. Grab some more of these. Yeah, Phil says New York has champagne budgets and bathtub gin results. True. I wish you were wrong, but you are absolutely correct. Yes. So hold on. I want to make sure I have all of that here. All righty. All right. All right. Okay, yeah, we'll cover that piece. All right. The education system would be better with more funding. That's like a male goose in a tuxedo. A propaganda. Ooh. Nicely done. Nicely done. All right. Now I brought up a bunch of these. Let me keep going down if I could for one more piece, because I want to stay on the school piece for one more second. The other thing that he put separately, because this was critical, he said greener schools for healthier New York. Now, two things. It was education, and then this piece under, which is climate. So to be clear, he decided that climate is critical for New York. Now, just so you guys understand this, climate for New York State. New York State already has the lowest emissions of any state. Already lowest. So what else must we do? We must go lower. We will punish everyone and go lower. We're already good. We've done our part. We've been punished. We won't stop. Not just that. Do you think if you have greener schools that all of a sudden everything will be great? Of course not. We have the lowest emissions, and we still have insanely high energy costs. And according to them, the world's still ending. Well, if the world's still ending, why is the world still ending? I gave up my plastic straws, didn't I? Or whatever. I can't now. I don't get plastic spoons unless I ask for them in New York. And am I bringing like the old bag? I don't have bags anymore or something, right? So why is the world still ending? I don't get it. So now we'll do this and it'll end. His words: fighting the climate crisis and improving quality of life are not separate issues. They literally are. As we fight the climate crisis in New York City, we always make quality of life worse. That's why he must say that. He must say that because he knows it's a lie. Every time we try to do things better for the climate, it makes our life worse, but we still have tons of waste in Times Square by all the biggest businesses on the planet. I'm not joking. True. Zohran has a plan to deliver a better and cleaner New York. Oh, okay. Including an unprecedented investment in our public schools. Okay, so we're going to invest more in public schools. So we can have our kids who are 57% be higher? No, silly. No. Zohran's green schools for a healthy New York City will renovate 500 public schools with renewable energy infrastructure. What could go wrong? I'm sure they'll be built lickety-split And they'll all work perfectly because that's happened. Oh, wait, never. Ever. Never has it happened once in New York City. Never. Okay. HVAC upgrades transform 500 asphalt schoolyards. I mean, who wants asphalt schoolyards? Into vibrant green spaces. See that? We'll make them all vibrant green spaces because that's easy to maintain in New York City. What could go wrong with that? Why do you think we made them parking lots in the first place? All right, of course, that'll be great. No worries at all. Yes. So that'll happen. And it'll create 15,000 union jobs. Sometimes they say the quiet part out loud. This is a jobs program. So climate is a jobs program, which is fine. Just say jobs program. And then we get it. At least be honest. Hey, I'm a Democrat. This is a jobs program. Okay, got it. No. This is about green schools or healthy New York or something. Yeah. And build resilient hubs in 50 schools that provide resources and safe spaces during emergencies. What? I don't know what that means, but yes, that's it. And the nation he's going to tackle climate change in New York City's cost of living. How are you going to change the cost of living when you're going to rebuild 500 public schools to make them greener? Not to teach our kids. Teaching our kids. That's stupid. We're not doing that. We're going to tell them that being green matters because being green matters. And here is I got to give him that. He does have he's got the stuff there. This part I want to I want to give him credit. And I'm not joking. I'm very serious. I want to give these guys credit. And that is, he does put his stuff online and most people don't. So, yes. There we go. All right. I got one more, but let me keep going and grab some more comments if I can. All righty. Shelly says, I don't make enough money to file taxes, so I won't get a check from Hochul. Aw. Maybe later. And Cat May says, Das ist wirklich schrecklich. That is really bad. Very bad. No, really. That is really bad. I think that's what I said. It's really bad. Really bad. Is that correct? My German isn't perfect, but I think that's what I said. Really awful. Maybe. Anyway. But yes. Das ist die richtige Antwort. So yes. All right. Let me keep going to here. Make schools Catholic again. Nicely done. Yes. All righty. Adrex says kids aren't very good drivers. True. Most aren't. Yes. Most aren't. Okay, you guys giving us up. Yes, 16. I love that. There we go. Mike said that was a record. Yep. Thank you. I appreciate that. All righty. All righty. Andrea says, sounds like more jobs for cronies. True. And that's the key. Yes. That is the key. Shelly says, $1 in my pocket that isn't owed to someone is my living wage. Ooh, I like that. Nicely done. There we go. Nicely done. All righty. Karen says, I painfully navigate FAFSA only to be told we don't qualify unless we deplete all of our savings first. It's a joke. Yes. Correct. Yeah. There's no real help. It's punishing. Yes. All righty. Avi says, Larry, nothing against you, but Mamdani isn't a well-meaning, naive socialist who just wants life to be better for poor people. I'm sure he was charming and pleasant to you, but he's a deceptive and cynical, radical American jihadist whose whole globalized shtick is definitely sympathetic. I don't believe any of that. And let me tell you why. And because every single bad guy, Avi, every single bad guy is always the worst bad guy ever. It is propaganda by both sides. You see the Democrats, everybody who supports Trump is an evilist or phobe in some way. They're all bad and evil. All of them are. I don't believe that. And I don't believe every Democrat is a bad person either. I think most people are well-meaning. Some of the leaders are not, but most are. Often they're wrong. I don't believe it. And look, if I'm proved wrong, I'll be proved wrong. I'm happy to prove wrong. But I don't buy it because every single time that there's a bad guy, AOC was an evil Marxist. Remember how evil she was? She's become an establishment hack. But remember, she was an evil Marxist. She's going to socialize the world, whatever. She's not. She's not. So I don't know. I don't buy it. Well, if I'm wrong, Avi, I will come back here and be like, Avi, you were right. I will say, and you guys know the few times I'm wrong, it does happen once in a while. I come out and I'll say it. I don't buy it. I think you're going to find out that's not true. That's what I think. I think I can do that. So yes. All righty. Oh, Lenari became a member. Thank you, my friend. When I was a kid, doorbell cams had nothing on. All Mrs. Flossie Ross across the street. Yes. There's an old joke. That was a security cam. Was the mom or grandma who was staying at home knowing who was who. So yes. All righty. Okay. We got to keep walking down here. Well, you guys have a lot of you're going back and forth a lot yourself, which I appreciate that. I love that. Sidno says long range hole punches. Yes. YouTube does hate 2A. True. That's why I have to call them long range hole punches, because otherwise I get demonetized. I get trashed. I'm already getting hammered. So yes. Mike goes 3 weeks. Oh, 3 weeks ago. There we go. It was a couple weeks ago. We were together in the Bronx. I grew up right by Yankee Stadium, like across the street, right by Yankee Stadium. So yes, that's true. Yeah. All righty. Let me grab it. You made Bronner's day be ungovernable for the win. He does love that. So yes, he does love that. All righty. I went down that road. Okay, I think I covered all those. I'm trying to go down and get as many as I possibly can if I go one more. All right. Say No says, Republicans going for Cuomo made me sick. I guess Trump wanted to get the COVID gang back together. Yeah, look, establishment is establishment. Yes. So, yes. Adirondack says, I keep waiting for Larry to read one of my comments and then ask, what the F is wrong with you? All right, Adirondack. What the fuck is wrong with you? There we go. I gave you what you wanted. So there we go. Mike says, New York has lower climate emissions than most countries since 2015. Yes, I should have mentioned that, Mike. That's true. But I always think that the lowest in the countries, but good point. U.S. is 6 times better than the EU. China, India, Africa don't care and add more greenhouse gases each year than the U.S. removes. Thank you for bringing this up. This is a very good point, Mike. While China has done a very good job of lip service for going green, they have. The Chinese rhetoric, and I bring this up often, it makes Mike angry sometimes when I bring it up. Chinese rhetoric is really good when it comes to, green this, green that. Their actual output, utter garbage. But they talk a great talk. It's a great talk, Mike. It is. It sounds awesome. It does. It just isn't real. But we have to get better at this, Mike. We got to get better at talking the trash. That's our problem. We don't talk trash enough. So there we go. All righty. Let me grab here if I can. All right. That's good there. Okay. I think that covered. I think I caught up to a bunch. Good. All right. So let me now, if I can, go to one more piece. The last piece, if I could, for this evening. And that is how to pay for it. Okay. So this all education we talked about with education somehow also included climate, I guess. Somehow it included childcare. It included indoctrination in general. It included everything. At least he did the quiet part out loud. But now he's going to talk about how he's going to pay for it. So now we're set. See? Paying for our agenda. It's right here. It's right here. Paying for our agenda. I love that. All right. So he's going to pay for the agenda. How? My brother Zohran, how are you going to pay? Zohran has a plan to bring down the cost of living through city-owned grocery stores. We talked about that already and how that's garbage. I've did a whole video on the grocery store thing, how it's doesn't work. It's not true. Did a whole thing on that, but that's fine. Universal childcare, just talk about how that's not going to work. It's fine. Other bold proposals. And he knows exactly how to pay for it. That's what he says right there. And he knows exactly how to pay for it too. Zohran's revenue plan will raise the corporate tax rate to match New Jersey's 11.5%, bringing it in at $5 billion. See that? That's going to bring in $5 billion. That'll save us. Okay, first off, already companies are leaving New Jersey. Already companies are leaving New York. Now, I know so all the time people tell me, Larry, it's not true. The rich don't leave. There's videos on this, how it's not true. And it's all utter horseshit. All utter garbage. Companies like Goldman Sachs and such actually have more workers in other cities than they have in New York now. They have more workers in Austin than they have in New York City. More in Miami than they have in New York City. They're leaving. Now, why? New York, Miami, 0 personal income tax. Texas, yeah, same thing. No income tax. Yes. Corporate tax, lower. What's one of the fastest growing states on the East Coast? North Carolina. Yeah, one of the fastest. Why? Lowest corporate tax rate, 2.5%. He wants 11.5%. 2.5% compared to 11.5%. What's that? 4.5 times. Is that right? 5 times? What is it? 5? Yeah, almost 4.5 to 5 times higher. You can go to North Carolina. If you're a multi-billion-dollar company, you know how much money that is? That's a lot. Yeah. He thinks this is going to work. He does. Then he goes on, he will tax the wealthiest 1% of New Yorkers, those earning above $1 million annually, a flat 2% tax. So just you make over $1 million, 2% flax extra you got to pay. Now, at the end of the world for those people. It isn't. It isn't. If it was just that, would most of them stay? Yes. People who love New York tend to want to stay. I know I'm still here like the idiot that I am. It's true. Most will still stay at just that. The problem is it isn't just that. That's the issue. People say, well, just they're going to pack up and leave everything for 2%. No. If that was the only thing, he'd be correct. If it was just the 2% and nothing else, he'd be correct. But it isn't. It's 2% on that, 11% on their business, and things that keep failing across the state. $30 minimum wage, all the things that keep going up and up and up. A terrible schooling, crime, all those things keep going up. Cost of living going up. All those things. Now throw on 2%, you will watch them leave. Again, according to the IRS, New York State already loses about $20 billion every single year due to migration. People leaving. Already happening. Already happening. You're seeing it everywhere. They're leaving. And the average person who leaves New York State makes about $400,000 to $500,000 a year. That's the average. So some make much more, some make less. But the average is about $500,000, $400,000 per year average. Think about that. And his idea is just to tax them. That's the answer. And he goes on. Zohran will also implement common sense procurement reform. See, no one's thought of that before, guys. You're like, oh, just common sense. Why didn't we do common? Because Zohran wasn't here to tell us to do common sense. Because he knows you guys don't. It's procurement reform. Because he's going to end senseless no-bid contracts. Is he, though? You know how you get no-bid contracts often? It's to get around things so you can actually get equity. I'm not joking. So if I go up and I go, hey, I'm a minority-owned company, which I am. I go to a minority-owned company. They go, oh, no bid, you just get it. Why? Because you check the box. I'm not joking. You check the box. No bid. Go. Oh, okay. Well, I'm a woman-owned. Check the box. I'm a woman and minority-owned. Double box check. You in. That actually happens constantly. I know. I've been part of them. I've worked for the city before more than once. I've always told you guys, I've trained the city before. I have. Yes. And hire more tax auditors, because who's that going to harm? Do we think that tax auditors are going to go after the wealthy? We tried this already. Remember that? We tried it already. Remember all the auditors that Biden hired? They went for the wealthy? No. The wealthy have relationships with everyone in the tax bureaus and the tax offices already. They hire large firms who have relationships liaisons there. Of course that. Yes. Those auditors are going to go after small guys and rip them to pieces. This is going to destroy small businesses. That's what it will do. And crack down on fine collections from corrupt landlords. Now you might go, well, that sounds good. This will raise an additional $1 billion, he says. That'll be great, right? Yeah. No, it won't. Because the largest landlords, they rack up millions of dollars in fines and fees every year. Then what do they do at the end of the year? They send their lawyers into New York City. I'm not making this up. I'm saying it publicly. It happens all the time. And they negotiate. You're cracking down on them. If you own 1,000, 2,000, 4,000 units in New York City, you're wealthy. You have a team. You have in fact, you have a management company. You don't even run it. You don't even live in New York City, probably. You might not. Who knows? But you don't run it. You have a management company that runs all your stuff. That's how it actually works. The management company has a law firm or has lawyers on staff, and they head it over there. And they head over there and go, hey, or they call or whatever and go, hey, how much we owe this year? And the auditor who's already there, who's assigned to them, goes, yeah, you guys owe, $2 million, $2.2 million this year. All right. Look, don't bust my balls. I'll give you 400,000. They go, that's fine. 400's fine. Done. Write them a check. That's what actually happens. That's the truth. There's no auditor going there. We're going to get these landlords. Who doesn't have that? The small landlord who owns one building and his family came from, Italy or Greece or Ireland, and they came over to New York, and they were able over the course of 2 generations to buy a building, and they have 3 or 4 units in that building. That person's screwed. That person is screwed. That person's going to get hammered by all these fines and fees, and they can't pay for anything. And then I told you this. Remember last time I did this, right? It's about his landlord stuff, his freezing the rent thing, right? Same thing. So now those guys can't do anything, and they're begging the bank to just take the property. That's a real thing. You can Google this. This is not I'm not making this up. They're begging them to just take the property. Just take it. Because I'm losing money. And the fines, I'm not going to pay the fines. Remember, most of the people who own these buildings, they don't physically own the building. They have an LLC or an S Corp that owns the building. They just bankrupt the S Corp. They bankrupt the S Corp. They're not going to pay the fines and fees. They just bankrupt them and say, I'm not going to pay. Bank, take it. The bank goes, I don't want this place. It's going to cost me too much to fix it up because of all the fines and fees. I don't want it. You keep it. I don't want to keep it. I can't. So what happens? And Mamdani said this. The city will take it. How will he make his money? The city will take it. So the city takes all of these small property owners, takes their land, takes their property. The big guys pay it off, and the little guys get their stuff taken away. I'm going to ask again. In the 3 shows we've done on this, where is the worker owning the means of production? That's what I keep hearing this new socialism is about. I hear that like every week someone tells me that. What I keep hearing is Soviet-style commissars, Soviet-style centralized control, and Soviet-style government acquisition of private property. That's what I keep hearing. 3 days, I've done it, 3 shows, over an hour and a half each show, off his website. What have I heard? Soviet-style centralized control, Soviet-style taking away property, and Soviet-style commissars. That's what I've heard the entire way. Now, to fix the things, I've told you how to actually fix them. I've given you actual answers. How are you going to fix education? K through 10 program I talked about before. K through 10, not K through 12. K through 10. Paid for by the New York State Social Trust. The New York State Social Trust is like a sovereign fund for New York State. All the cool Democratic Socialist countries who have all these great goodies, they have social trusts. They have sovereign funds. Socialism, when you add capitalism, works great. Just add capitalism to it, and now it works. So once you add capitalism, it works. There's a very large company that socialists love talking about. It's called Mondragon. Those who may not. I think it's Spanish or Portuguese. I think it's Spanish. Yeah, I think it's Spanish. Mondragon. It's a co-op, massive co-op. See, socialism works. True. What they don't tell you is Mondragon has a private equity arm. Yes, has a private equity arm. What does that mean? About a third of Mondragon is a bank. Literally capitalism. So again, co-op totally works. Socialism totally works when you add capitalism. Just add capitalism. Socialism works. Done. See how easy that is? Every single time. So we need to do the same thing. We need to have an actual social trust here in New York State that will directly pay for education. Pays directly in. What does that mean? That means no money coming from the federal government, no money coming from the state, which means no strings attached, which means I don't require commissars. I don't require all these administrators. Local districts control their own school districts as they see fit. Yeah. Not just that. $18,000 per kid, half, because that's all it'll cost because the administrators go away and the strings go away. That's what it'll cost. It goes to the school district, wherever that kid is registered. So the money follows the kid. What? Insane. Wherever you put your kid in whatever district you register them in, that district gets the cash. But Larry, I don't want to go to my local school district. Okay, go to the district. I don't care. I'm not telling you where to go. Wherever you register that kid, that district gets the cash. But Larry, I want to go to a private school. No worries. You get a $6,000 credit to go to a private school. Or Larry, I want to homeschool. No worries. $6,000 credit to buy stuff for your kid for private school, for homeschool. Yes. $6,000 credit. That sounds great, but why don't I get the full 18? Because I still want you using the facilities. Homeschool your kid, but still have your kid be in a football team. So you get to private school, have them be in a math club. I don't want to break up communities. I still want communities to be together, even though you decide you want your kid to grow up Catholic and you want your kid to grow up Orthodox and you want your kid to go to the public school, which is great, and you want your kid to be homeschooled. Okay, you're still in the same community, same neighborhood. Be together. Have them all come together anyway. So they're all using the same thing. So now you can start a private school, public school, and not need a library. Why? You can use the public school library. Well, can I do that? And then what about a football team? Public school football team. It's fine. So he can still play football, even though he's private schooled. Who cares? He can still be in the math club. Go to the prom. So what? Why? It's all being paid for by the trust. That's how you fix that issue. Not just that, K through 10. Once your kid's 16, I don't care where they went to school, they take a test. If you pass that test, you get a high school diploma. That's how that works. Now, I have to pay for the next 2 years of school. Again, I told you it's in the Constitution. Got to pay for it. Okay. We're going to follow the GI Bill model, which means every kid gets $20,000. And at $20,000, they have 5 years to use it. Get 2 years of school. Take your time. Do what you got to do. Trade school, go. A specialized school for sports, go. A specialized school for medicine or law, go. A 2-year liberal arts school when you're in 11th and 12th grade so you don't waste your time when you're in college, go. A prep school to be better in college, go. Or just go to work, get a work ethic. Figure out what you want to do as you're working, then go back to school for 2 years to figure out to be better at it. Go to trade school, become a plumber, become a welder, whatever. Do it. 20 grand. You might go, wait a minute, Larry, 20 grand. That's a lot of money. No, it isn't. That's how much all those schools will cost. How do I know that? Because that's what government money is. So whatever the government money is, that's what it'll cost. $20,000 for 2 years. We're paying $36,000 for one. Nothing but saving money. Nothing but saving money. I've been talking about this plan for years. I talk about this plan on Joe Rogan. I talk about this plan on Glenn Beck. I talk about it constantly. It is the plan. It should have worked a long time ago. If we'd have that now, we'd be dealing with AI far better. We had that now, we're dealing with the migrant crisis way better. We wouldn't even need it because we have a bunch of guys in trade school right now. We wouldn't need all the migrants now. All of that would actually happen. That's how you actually fix education. That's how you act. The stuff he's talking about is a colossal waste of time. We could actually fix it the way I'm talking about. Actual localized control, getting rid of national standardized testing, getting rid of all these DEM administrators, and having teachers teach and parents control. That's the future of New York. That'll make us happy. That's what it wants to do. Guys, if you like what I'm talking about, then click the button known as Lima India Kilo Echo. Please do so. If you have not shared this, repost this, please do so now. Subscribe to this channel. I ask you all the time, please do so. But more important, this is also a fundraiser. Do you want the stuff I'm talking about to get out there? Do you want a chance to actually win this damn thing? Okay, got to give. And if you've already given, tell your friends to give, particularly if they live in New York. Please, if they live in New York, absolutely. Have them head over there, LarrySharpe.com/donate. If you want something from it, LarrySharpe.com/shop. You can pick up something from it if you want to. That's great. Whatever the case may be. If you have already, volunteer. LarrySharpe.com/volunteer. Join SEAL Team Sharpe. We have a Discord server, all those things. We have meetings every once in a while. Do that too. All of those are great. Please enjoy. And if you happen to be in Western New York, I've been in Western New York this weekend. I will be in certain spots. Let me show you where I will be. I will be on Friday in Niagara Falls at Bella Vista Restaurante. Saturday, November 22nd, 1:30, the Firing Pin. That's Long Range Hole Punchers. 5 p.m., Finger Lakes Public House in Canandaigua. Sunday, I will be at Chef Stanley's at 10:30 and McCarthy's Brew House at 4 p.m. in Carmel. So, guys, if you want to come see me, please do so. I would appreciate it. Again, it's free. Please just come by and support the local area. I appreciate it. Last piece I bring up, click the button known as like if you would. And remember the rules. If you can, after this is over, this live is over, please comment. And I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind, I'm going to ask you in this case, what do you think? What do you think is the most important piece or flaw in education in New York, or in the country even? What is the biggest flaw in education in America today? There we go. What is the biggest flaw in education in America today? And remember, if this isn't live, you may see two things pop up. Please watch one of those right away. Mr. Rhythm loves that. Algorithm. I will see you all very soon.